Jason here again from FG4K, and we're on to lesson number 12. We're going to review a couple things. Number one is something I've brought up before, the concept of a bar, without really getting into it before, but now we are. So the idea of a bar is to take one finger and hold down more than one note. Easy idea. As you know, though, it's difficult enough holding down one note with one finger. So when you add in another one, you have to press a little bit harder, and it's more dependent on your hand being in very good position to make it sound good, okay? So we're gonna start very, very straightforward and just build this one string at a time. So we're gonna start just by, say, holding down the 5th fret on the 1st string with our 1st finger, okay? Easy enough. But now we're gonna take that 1st finger and play down on or press down on the 2nd string as well at the 5th fret and the 1st string at the 5th fret. And our idea, our goal, is to make those ring out nice and clear. So you'll probably hear this, some variation of muted notes, but our goal is to be here, okay? What we don't want to do is get to the point where we're like, well, I can't press this down hard enough, so I'm gonna use my other fingers to help on top of it or something like that. Try to avoid doing that. You're better off having a slightly dampened sound than doing it the wrong way. So we'll start with that. Now we're gonna add in another note to this bar. Okay, we're just going to add in the 6th fret of string number 3 with our 2nd finger. So now we have that, okay? Then we're going to go to the 4th string and use our pinky to hold down the 7th fret. And this feels and looks kind of weird at the moment, but it'll make sense in a minute here. So now we've got 4 strings out of this bar chord. Okay, then we're going to add in one more, which is going to be the 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the A string or the 5th string. Okay, so I'm going to recap from here. We have 5 on the 1st, and then add in 5 on the 2nd, 6 on the 3rd, 7 on the 4th, and 7 on the 5th. Now, here comes the real challenge. And this chord right there sounds just fine, but what we're going to do is we're going to take this finger, the 1st finger, and we're going to stretch it across. And it still has to be responsible for hitting these 2 notes, but now we also have to hit that one with it. Okay? So there's other strings in the middle. These 3 that you're already pressing down, what happens there with your 1st finger doesn't really matter. If you end up pressing down at the 5th fret, that's fine. If you don't, it doesn't matter at all because these strings are already taken care of with those 3 fingers. All we're concerned about is making sure this one, and this one sound out with your 1st finger. And so here's what it's going to sound like and look like when you hold them all down together. We have... And just like one of the scales that we've done before, like the blues scale or the major scale, we can move it. Now, this section of the fretboard, like 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9, are about the easiest places to do these bar chords. So I recommend starting it here. As you work your way down closer to the nut here, it becomes more and more difficult. There's a lot more tension right here than anywhere else on the neck. So it's a lot harder to press down. So maybe start around that 5th fret and just keep it there. You can move up and down, but just like any other chord, and especially important on this because it's more difficult to press, one string at a time. Make sure they all ring out. And that's the basic idea of building a bar chord, okay? Next thing we're going to work on are scale diagrams. And I referred to it in the previous lesson, but a scale diagram is essentially still tablature, and this is one of these things that you'll definitely want your teacher to work with you on, but it shows all the notes at the same time in a diagram, okay? And so what you'll see is the 6 strings written out, but you'll see frets written out as well, and dots on those frets indicating which frets to play. And so have your teacher help you with the scale diagram. Eventually, that's going to be the best way to learn scales because those become very movable scales like this C major scale that we did. So you can play any scale based off a diagram and move it around the fretboard. And it makes it a whole lot easier to deal with. Okay, we're going to learn a couple more 12-bar progressions, this time utilizing our 7th chords. First one's going to be in the key of A, the second one will be in the key of E. They will sound amazingly similar, just in different keys. So here's the first one in the key of A. Okay, now to the one in the key of E. Once again, it should sound the same, just in a different key. 2, 3, 4. And then repeat. Simple as that for those 12-bar blues things. Obviously, it's very dependent on you knowing those chords really well, so if those chords are still kind of sketchy, work on the chords first and then try to add in the actual progression. Last song for this lesson is a very classic tune called Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison, and interestingly enough, it utilizes the same strumming pattern that you see in Good Riddance by Green Day. So it's that down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we have this cool little intro. Okay, then we get to the part of the song that we have written down, which is the chords. And it just G, and we can do a C or a C add 9. Okay, I'll do the C add 9 because that's a little bit easier to get to for now. So we go G, C, add 9, back to G, to D. So it looks like this. And that'll wrap it up for lesson number 12. Have fun with that.